Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jay Garren from Midwest Cloud Computing. Hey, I decided that I hadn't done a podcast in a while, so I thought, you know what a great idea. Got a few minutes. I'd spin one up real fast. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was a little bit about managed service providers, the performance of managed service providers, the cost of managed service providers, and let's talk a little bit about help desk and customer service and all that. And doing that today because it's the silly season, obviously, for IT leadership, for company leadership. We're doing budgets. And there is a budget line item that you deal with every year's IT costs and all the elements of that, the hardware, the software, the people, all that. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about is this is something that I used to have to go through a lot when I was running global operations at eBay. One of my responsibilities was the global service desk. I also did this for IBM Global Services, and I created the customer service desk for Avaya when Avaya was viable and they didn't go through a lot of their pain and suffering and all that stuff. And it's a critical element because I've always said, and I truly believe this, the face of IT is your customer service desk, your help desk, and it's your web presence, your internet and your intranet. Everybody in your company goes to the intranet all the time. And that's really what they connect with when it comes to IT. Um, More importantly for me, more so than the intranet, although I like internet technologies and build websites and all that stuff, it is the customer service aspect that you get from your global service desk and your customer service desk. And, it really, it is the time of year where you've got to sit down and maybe take a few minutes to reflect on what you're doing and where you might need to improve. And don't be scared to reach out to the people above you and the people below you to get their thoughts on it because they use these services. So with that, I'm going to bring up a pretty picture. I like pretty pictures. Um, what we're going to talk about is your MSP delivering the promise? Well, that's, what I was kind of talking about was how do people feel about it? When you call, do people think they're going to get service or, are they hesitant to because they don't believe it? When I took over at eBay, the help desk for eBay was 5 people out in San Jose, and everybody called it the helpless desk or the hell desk because they didn't do anything. They were just order takers. People don't really need order takers unless you're in a restaurant. Okay. When it comes to technology, though, you got to have someone who, can deliver the promise. Um, so you need to take the time and say, when that managed service provider company that we're with right now came in, they said they were going to do all this and invent time travel. Well, did you actually get time travel out of the deal? Chances are you didn't. Okay. Now, some of you have an internal help desk and internal services. Okay. That's a different animal, but I'm going to address it as we get a little further along. You can choose one of the two, or you can choose a hybrid solution where you have some applications or some elements or some hardware that's managed by your internal people. And the balance of that, the help desk and maybe some of the applications, are managed by a team of consultants or managed service provider. It's up to you. Um, One of the things that I find a lot of times is when, as a managed service provider myself, when we talk to these customers, it starts off with just basically a word dump. We need this and we need that. We need this and we need that. We need this. And it's like one of those stenographers at the court. They're just furiously typing away to get all this information down. And then after basically the quote's put together, they love the quote. This is great. Things are signed. Let's go. We get them converted. 3 months down the road, they call you and say, we've got the cruddiest phone system on the planet. And we forgot to mention that when we talked to you. We don't like our phone system. We need a new phone system. Uh-oh. Well, we need to add a service at that point. And, it's a little bit of a difficult discussion because, one of the products we sell is all IT. We'll do everything for you. But then when you come back and it was missed in the conversation and you say, well, the phone system's going to cost you, we're going to have to adjust your monthly based on the new phone system. A little bit of a difficult conversation, but it can be had. It can be had. But that's just one example. Things need to get added. Okay, we brought on, we acquired a new company. There are 50 seats, and we're going to need you to manage 50 new desktops. Well, of course, that's going to adjust the cost. That's the nature of the beast. So there might be an opportunity where, are you getting the best dollar, the bang for the buck with your consulting team or even your internal team? So you need to ask the question. But you know what? That's kind of touchy-feely. Do we feel good about this and all this stuff? But let's get down to the actual dollar value and how do we figure that out? The easiest thing for me, or what I've always done, is it's realistically, it's your total cost of ownership, how much it costs, and I like to use the number of tickets or issues that have been brought up and solved in a year. Simple number of contacts, the number of tickets into the cost, and that gives you your cost per ticket. Real simple, very easy, and it's a good metric because it really does reflect a little bit on that. And you probably want to do that because at some point you might say, "Gosh, we're paying so much money, we just don't get called." Or I had a situation where I was working for IBM and we took over a company and we fixed all of their support costs for their applications and all their servers. And the vice president called me at budget time and he said, "Hey, I'm only going to give you half the money I gave you last year." And I asked him why. And he says, "Because we never call you. We never have to call you." Well, yeah, that's because I fixed all your systems. Your systems don't break. Okay. So you got to be, you've got to understand, um, you may not be calling us every day, but you know what? We're kind of like an insurance policy. You're not going to go without us. But let me switch over and let's go with that per ticket model for just a second here. Let me get into, oh, what did I do here? Teams really usually makes me mad, but nevertheless, let's go with, oops, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing that. And then I'm going to start sharing. Let's get this one up and running. This is just some metrics I put together that I'm pretty familiar with. Um, the goal here or the overlying concept is the higher the cost per ticket, the lower the maturity of the service that you're receiving. And in this world, basically table stakes help desk, your tickets are going to be between $55 and $85 per. Okay. As you get a little further up the chain, a very high efficiency MSP, guys that know their stuff or folks that know their stuff, between 8 and 18. And these are the things you want to focus on. And that's why per ticket is very useful because there's some other metrics I'm going to talk about in just a second. What's considered good? $30 plus, needs some efficiency. $12 best in class. And again, the efficiencies are things like automation, a high FCR. And what an FCR is, it's first call resolution. That means when your person calls that help desk, they get the service that they need and they're done. They're happy. They walk away. Boy, they just did what I needed them to do, and that's great. What you sometimes have to do, but you'd like to limit is, well, I'm going to have Bob from engineering have to give you a call because I can't fix this. Okay. That impacts the first call resolution. The other thing it does is it irks the users. They don't want to call back. They just want to hang up and have their stuff fixed. Okay. Um, Another thing is offering self-service. Okay. Password resets. If you haven't thought about it, it's a great opportunity because I will guarantee you a large percentage of your tickets are password resets. And if you can provide them with a working, not a frustrating, but a working automated password reset feature, you're gonna win the hearts and minds of your users. And again, this one works in both a in-house service desk or an outsourced service desk under an MSP. Um, some things that drive the cost up. Again, escalations. If you can't get that fixed for over 2 weeks and they're waiting and waiting and waiting, the cost is going to go up because it requires more people and you're going to raise the frustration level, which you don't want, which goes back to that first question. Are you happy with what you're getting? Too much sprawl. That means you have equipment all over the place. You've got applications all over the place. You have applications that you used to use 8 years ago, but no one's ever touched it or signed into it again. Clean that up. Basically, that's going to lower your total cost. Um, a low first call resolution perspective. Again, that's going to raise your cost because you're going to have to get more people involved and more time. High ticket volume. We'd love to always have low ticket volume. What does that mean? Our systems are mature. We've looked at them. We've had them around for a while, and we're pretty good about what we do. So those are some metrics and all of that that are very important. Um, oh, and if you want this, you can email me and I'll send you all this data if you want a copy of it, which is good. Um, so what I want to show you is we'll go back to there we go. Another aspect of it is, are your systems up to date? Are you getting patched correctly? Let's all remember you've got to have security patches, or number one, that's basically you're exposing. And if you've got cyber insurance and your systems aren't patched, you may get into trouble with your insurance company. Uh, Other critical maintenance, I would say anyone watching this just went through the Windows 11 upgrade, which was a little bit invasive because a lot of the desktops that you have wouldn't support Windows 11. So you had to go through acquisition and all that type of stuff. How was that working for you? Do you have a partner? Do you have a consulting company or an MSP that's helping you with acquisition of hardware? Do you want that? Um, is your internal team handling it? All great questions. Um, Here to me is the most important. And you, as a technology leader, you need to get out your office. You need to go talk to your folks. You need to talk to the folks above you and the folks below you. What are you thinking about? How do you feel about how you're supported? Do you have great things to say? Do you have nothing, do you have nothing but bad things to say? And you got to take it with a grain of salt because remember, nobody remembers the great service. They always remember the last outage. Okay. That's going to haunt you, but it is what it is. Um, One of the things I wanted to show you, and you're more than welcome to use this. This is out on the Midwest Cloud Computing website. Hang on just one second. Let me get this up and running for you. Stop sharing that. Let's go to, is this? Yeah, it's this one. We have out there is a help desk. It's a help desk savings calendar or calculator, sorry. And why we put that out there is to kind of support what we've done. And we built this using industry standards, okay? So if you go out to IT services, under manage IT services, as you can see, the third from the bottom is IT help desk, okay? So if you go there, you click on help desk savings calculator, calculate and compare. How many internal help desk people do you have? Let's pretend that you have 3. And always remember, you can't have just one because Bob, who's been there with you for 14 years, he takes vacations and he needs time off. When you have one person and they're sick that day, you're basically unsupported, okay? So they come in at least pairs. So let's pretend here. Here's 3 people And also, I like to keep track of the number of seats that are supported because the number of seats that are supported have a direct correlation to the number of help desk people. So let's just say Bob supports 200 seats. Now, full-time employees come with benefits, they come with time off, they come with all that kind of good stuff. So three help desk people are averaging, they're going to cost you 225,000 with benefits. If you outsource that to an MSP like Midwest Cloud Computing, we're going to reduce that cost to about 72,000 annual. Okay, that's kind of a delta. Your annual savings is $153,000. Okay. Now, when you start projecting that, your two savings, it's going to be basically twice that. And your three savings, so on a 3-year contract, you could save close to $450,000 by outsourcing that versus keeping people, full-time employees running it. And like I said, and the issues with that, because 3 full-time people does not guarantee you 24/7 service. Something to think about. When Sally comes in because it's month end and she works at 3 in the morning and pow, she has an outage. Do you have 24/7 service? Chances are probably not. With an outsourced model, most MSPs, most outsourced help desks offer 24/7. We offer 24/7. We'll get someone on the phone with you within 5 to 10 minutes. Because let's face it, if Sally comes in at 3 in the morning and she has to wait till 8:30 to get her problem resolved, Sally's not going to be a happy person because she just wasted her time. So, as we talked about earlier, from a calculation perspective, using cost per ticket, in this model, the cost per ticket is $125. If you go back to that slide, $125 is a basic help desk. If you outsource that to a managed service provider like Midwest Cloud Computing, that ticket cost is $40 per ticket. Now you're starting to get into the you are supported range. And again, I used a lot of averages, a lot of stuff that I pulled off of um, Chat GPT and some of the other stuff to calculate this. Your per ticket savings in this model is $85 per ticket. It's fairly significant. So, you can call me crazy. I've been called crazy many, many times, but there is real savings to be had. And more importantly, a happy help desk and a happy web presence is the face of IT. You don't want to be called up to the 40th floor down at the big tower and being told that your service is inadequate. So that's some thoughts. If you want to know more, if you'd like some help, we'll do that. We'll come over and we'll help you figure all that stuff out. Um, we do it all the time. We're very good at it. Oops. And like I said, you don't need to go it alone. We can help on many fronts. If you need to, call Sean over here, Sean McCary. His number, hopefully it's on the screen that you're looking at. And we can have some discussion. Um, the first call, it's free. Second call, probably free. Third call, yeah, it's probably going to be free too. So give us a call over here. We'd love to help you. And you know what? You guys, y'all have a good day. Really appreciate it. Bye bye.